Hey friends, this is Ben with the Sawtooth Avalanche Center here. I wanted to talk to you about the persistent slab problem that we've been talking about in our forecast. If you've been reading the forecast real closely, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you know that we've been saying that the persistent slab is our primary concern in all of our areas since the day we started forecasting about 2.5 weeks ago here. The persistent slab problem that we're talking about is referring to the weak snow that we buried in December that got destroyed in November and fell in October. Simple enough. We're here in the White Clouds. We're just north of the 4th of July Creek drainage. We're about 8,100 feet on a northeast facing slope. And you can see buried near the base of the snowpack is this very weak snow. This snow looks awful bad here, and one of the reasons it looks so bad is because the snowpack is a bit shallower here. It's about 3.5 feet deep where I'm standing. In other areas in our forecast area, and even in this forecast zone, as you travel south, that even just this slab on top of the weak snow is 4+ feet deep. And we've got snowpack depths that we've measured that are approaching 6 feet just in this zone. In our other zones, the snowpack is even deeper in places. So we've got the same weak snow at the ground. It formed in about the same time period, but we've had different weather in different places since then. And so we're seeing a little bit of a divergence in the way that that slab behaves in different places. Here, this slab isn't terribly stiff, and it's less than 3 feet thick. As I came up this little safe slope here, I felt the snowpack collapse a couple of times. In a lot of other areas, even where the weak snow looks just about as bad as this, snowpack collapsing has reduced significantly. So what we're seeing is as this slab gets stiffer and as it gets deeper and we put some of this nice fluffy snow on top of it, we're armoring that weak snow and we're making it harder to impact it. Now that does sound good, and it does mean that your chances of triggering an avalanche where that slab is really thick like that are a little bit less. But any avalanche that you trigger is going to be wider, it's going to be deeper, it's going to be even more destructive. And this isn't a small slab of snow. So the baseline for how dangerous these things are is pretty darn dangerous. And then we're just stacking on a couple more feet, adding a bunch of density to it, and it gets even worse. If you've been reading closely, you know that in our Banner Summit zone on Tuesday, we transitioned from describing this as a persistent problem to a deep persistent problem. This sounds like a lot of fancy language. These are boxes that we put the world into to help us understand them. It's not fundamentally different. The weak snow's the same, but because the snowbag has become so deep and that slab is so thick, it's hard to get to. The chances of triggering it have decreased a bit, and we're talking about things like weak spot triggering, where maybe you're in alpine terrain and you poke the track of your sled down towards a thinner spot, or even just your skis, and you're able to impact that weak layer, and then you create an avalanche that's absolutely massive, spans entire bowls, crowns 1/4 of a mile wide or wider, and that are completely unsurvivable. So that kind of explains the difference between that deep persistent problem and the persistent problem. One other thing I want to touch on is we've been really focused, and I know you have been focused as well, on this weak snow at the ground, but we've had some reports and we've seen some spots where there is a bit of weak snow in the upper snowpack. Sometimes it's between the first set of storms that we had starting about December 11th or so and the second set of storms that we had starting about a week ago. In other places, it's within this new storm snow here. Those problems aren't widespread. I've gone looking for them a number of times, and I've found that everywhere I look, it's a little bit different. But it is worth keeping on your mind that there are some things going on in the upper snowpack. It's not just what's going on down here. Thanks for listening. I know I get a little long-winded, but I really appreciate it.